The Eagles add to their receiver room. What role will John Metchie play and who might he push off the roster? Plus, Andrew Makuba made quite the debut Saturday. See just how much his pick six has impacted the depth chart. And I sit down with A.J. Brown, who updates me on his health and how he's giving back to the city. Welcome into Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL, with Barrett Brooks, I'm Ashlyn Sullivan, and Sunday afternoon we see the trade news come about. I'm thinking, oh, they definitely traded for a cornerback. No, a wide receiver, John Metchie from the Houston Texans. And when you look at this trade, Barrett, I don't think any of us expect them to trade for a receiver, but it kind of makes sense.
It does make a little bit of sense, considering the fact that, after AJ and, Smitty, and then after that, Dotson, you don't really have a lot of experience at the wide receiver position. God forbid one of those guys goes down. We need somebody here. We went through it last year. The first couple of weeks, we didn't have an A.J. Brown. So that maybe made us think, all right, what are we going to do if this type of thing happens again? I'm not wishing anything on anybody, but just understanding, what's going on in camp right now and A.J. not being there, we kind of need a little experience, just in case we come in. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to go out and make a trade, and that's exactly how we did. We really don't need to trade anybody, I thought, but these last two trades made all the sense in the world to me.
Well, especially when it's a win-win situation. You're trading away Harrison Bryant, who probably wasn't going to make the team. You're swapping late-round picks. This is really a situation where you can only win in this. Yeah,
you're definitely going to win in this, because at the tight end position, I don't know if they're going to go past Calcaterra. I don't know who's going to be next. So we have two elite starters. We run 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends. But then also you look at the fact that at the receiver position, there's something that, we're just missing as far as the experience position. So,
yes.
We need that.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, it's time now for our three-point stance presented by Toyota. Number one, the trade for John Metchie will bump another receiver off the roster. So how many wideouts are the Eagles going to keep on their 53-man roster at receiver? Who's the odd man out? You're thinking six. There's no way they keep seven. So someone isn't going to make it, and it's pretty hard to decide here.
Right. Because if you look at this, six guys got to make the squad. That's the highest that, the team will take in. I've been on teams, they've had as few as five. So, looking at this roster, AJ, Smitty, Dotson, they're going to be here. And Mitchell, since they just traded for him, he's going to be here. With Johnny Wilson, I think he'll be here, but he's kind of system-specific kind of guy. He's a good blocker, maybe a great red zone threat if he keep doing what he's doing, high-pointing balls and getting those 50-50 balls. Darius Cooper just played his way onto the squad. You can't get him past, the practice squad, so he's going to have to be on the squad. So now that you got, Mitchie, I don't know who else is going to be out. So when I look at it and I look at the roster, Ainias Smith may be the odd man out, but we don't know. He's been a returner. So do they keep seven? I don't know. But, we talked about Terrace Marshall during camp. He looked pretty good first couple days in camp. Avery Williams, where does he go? They brought him in from Atlanta as a kickoff return specialist. Does he make the squad as the seventh guy? Oh, man, this is one of the great things about having a roster as deep as this Eagles team. You have a lot to pick from, a lot of great, talented guys you can pick from. There's going to be some guys out there going to make somebody else's squad as soon as they cut them.
Right.
You're not going to be able to bring a guy down. I doubt seriously they allow Coop to go down to the practice squad because somebody just saw what he did. Yeah. He'd be picked up. As soon as he clears waivers, somebody be trying to go get him. So, this is a great predicament for Howie Roseman and this team to be going through, the amount of talent that they have, but you still don't know who's going to make the squad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's between Ainias Smith and Darius Cooper, and every day you change your mind on who's going to get that last spot.
You do.
So,
back and forth.
It'll be interesting this last week. And now to number two, Cooper DeJean might have to be the answer at outside cornerback. This is crazy. He got some first-team reps in base defense today on the outside. The competition on the outside has been between Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson. They also picked up Jacorian Bennett. But Vic Fangio has said no one has taken the reins. We know that. Could they just move Cooper DeJean outside and put someone else in the slot? It's to the point where they might have to do that. It's almost like no one taking the job, Barrett, is forcing their hand here.
Oh, absolutely. So since nobody's taken the job, nobody's stepped up, and that's hard for those guys to hear and understand, but nobody's flashing. Nobody's going out there and making plays. It's been very average play. You can't be average on this team with a bunch of stars on it. Now, if you do move Cooper DeJean on the outside in his base, base is when they have our 5-2 scheme. That's when we have the center and both guards covered with defensive linemen. Then you have the linebacker-esque type of guys on the outside that are, can rush the passer. Then you bring him over on the outside. But then you think about, all right, who's going to play slot? Who's going to play all that? Those are things they have to make up, and coach is going to have to fill. I see if they've moved him on the outside, that's a pretty good defense in your base defense. But you can't run base defense when they're running 11 personnel. 11 personnel is one running back, one tight end, and the rest receivers. If you do that, you're going to have 5 men down on the line of scrimmage. Who's going to go out there and cover? That's going to be the problem. So they only ran base defense, their base defense, like I said, which is a 5-2. They only ran that, 10 to 12 times a game. You can't make your living off doing that and have them on outside. What can you do? Maybe you bring in, the young guy, Mac McWilliams. He's playing. The coaches like him a lot. They brought him in. We'll see. But we got to see what's going on at that cornerback position.
It's to the point, I think it's a bit confusing right now because I think fans, when they saw that Cooper DeJean was getting reps on the outside, it's, he's going to be the starting cornerback. Really, the only difference right now is when they are not in that nickel package.
Exactly.
He used to get reps at safety, which leads us to Makuba here soon. Now he's just getting reps at cornerback. It's still not a lot of snaps, I think, that he's going to be on the outside for now, but it might have to be that he's the full
maybe 8, 10, 12 snaps a game.
Right, absolutely. And that leads us to number 3, which is kind of leading the hand here to Vic Fangio. Andrew Makuba might have won the starting safety job. He made his preseason debut Saturday, had a pick 6 and a fumble recovery. This is what we talk about, going and taking an opportunity. Today, he was ahead of Sidney Brown in every single first-team rep. Goes to show you do what you're supposed to do in a preseason game. He has taken this job for now.
If you flash, make yourself available, and do the things you need to do, and you get highlighted, and you make yourself the highlight reel, that's when you start starting, there wasn't much of a difference between the two. And I just had, at that point, Brown going in as a starter because he was healthy. He had the most first-team reps. But when you go out and have a game that Makuba had, it's hard to put this guy on the bench. It's hard not to put him in a position where he's not going to be a starter. I'm looking at him now. He's separating himself. Talk about a guy going out and making something happen, willing himself to be a starter. That's exactly what he did. He took the reins and took the position by going out there and getting a pick. I watched him in camp. He has no wasted movement. He understands what they're trying to do to him from a route combination standpoint. He plays the route the way it's supposed to be played, and you saw what he did between 2 guys winning and intercepted the ball. Makuba played his butt off, and he deserves to be a starter. He has numbers behind his name right now that puts him ahead of the pack.
Yeah, and I love the message the coaching staff is sending to the rest of the team. You play like that, you're getting the first-team reps in practice. And here's Andrew Makuba after Saturday's game with John Clark. It's our Fresh Bite presented by Acme.
I've been in that situation so many times during practice, so it was just muscle memory for me. Just being in the right place at the right time, just going off the quarterback. And, he made a mistake and threw the ball late to where I was at. And, I was able to, step in front. And, once I got the ball, and I had it in my mind that I had to get in the end zone regardless.
So what'd that feel like? First time at the link, in-game action, running down there into the end zone with Eagles fans cheering.
Man, it felt amazing. It's my first ever pick 6. So, I'm just so glad it happened now than later, so just be able to get that out of the way. And now that I know what it felt like, man, that's a feeling I want to have again. So it's going to be a lot more.
A.J. Brown missed practice again today as he continues to be sidelined with a hamstring injury. But yesterday, he was at the Boys Latin Middle School for his foundation's Fresh Cuts and Success and Mission for Heart event, giving back to the community before the season kicks off. I sat down with him on his foundation's goals and the season ahead. A.J. Brown in Philadelphia, back to school event with your foundation, a day off of training camp, and here we are, and your foundation always doing amazing things. And we've done a couple of these, and it seems like every year this gets bigger and better, and it's you taking responsibility for that. Why is that?
Because the city adopted me. Ever since I've been here, they showed nothing but love. And I just want to do whatever I can in the community to help out, and I'm trying my best just to bring a positive spotlight on something that's not really talked about as much. And I'm just trying to shed light in those areas and help the kids out as much as I can.
You mentioned it's not talked about enough. I watched you in that room with all of those boys getting haircuts. You can tell they're a little nervous. Sure. School's about to start. You see yourself in them a little?
Absolutely. I was around that age, just trying to figure things out, and really needed a mentor, really needed someone who I could look upon and believe, somebody come back and tell me some things and teach me some things, and I can believe in them and I can walk down that path as well. So I just want to represent the right way, not more solely just about I can catch a football, but just leading the right way on and off the field. So.
And in that room, it was interesting. There's haircuts, there's back-to-school supplies, but I was walking around and I saw the confidence station. And I think people look at you and think, you got to be the most confident guy in the world. But why implement that station?
You know, it starts with yourself. You know, you got to believe in yourself. Belief is your superpower. And, you know, and on the field aspect, you know, I like to say I'm the best receiver in the game. And that first starts off with belief. And you have to believe that. And off the field, you have to believe who you are, who are you called to be. And so I want to teach that early, in the early age, to have confidence in yourself. Like, I am smart, I am intelligent, I can do these things, you know, and it just doesn't have to be about sports. It can be about yourself, because we're human beings first, you know, so.
I got to think this offense right now, you guys are consistent for once here with all of these teammates. Kevin Patullo in the building already. What's something you've noticed getting this offense ready for the regular season?
Just being so comfortable with each other, you know, the familiarity in the building with KP. You know, he does a good job of leading his offense. He knows us, he knows our weaknesses, and he's trying to work on those things so we can get better at those things. You know, it's different if you'll bring somebody new and they have to learn us, but he already knows. And also he knows what we're well at. So we're just trying to be better in those areas and be better in the areas that we're not so good at, and just keep going and keep chirping, because it's a long season, and we're going to continue to grow as the season go on. And right now we're just trying to put our finishing touches on things right before camp ends, and I'm working my butt off to try to get back out there as soon as possible.
And how about this for A.J. Brown, named to the NFL's top 100 players list. He comes in at number 29, missed 4 games last season, but still managed to get past that 1,000-yard mark. The 5th Eagle so far to make the top 100, joining Jordan Mailata, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter. And first off, Barrett, when you look at A.J. Brown in that interview, he mentioned at the end of it he's working really hard to get back on the field for Week 1. At this point, I understand why there is some level of concern if he will be ready Week 1, but there's no point right now to have him out there in training camp with this going on.
No, sir. He's a veteran. No question that he understands what he needs to do to get his body back into working shape and working form to be, you know, explosive player on the field. That's one thing I'm not worried about. If AJ is going to come back, and if he's going to come back, he's going to make sure his body is ready to perform at the level it needs to help this team. He's not trying to go out there and be hobbled or anything or try to force the issue. We all know what he's capable of, and we just wait until he's basically ready to go out there and fulfill those type of abilities that we know he has. He is one of the best, if not the best receivers in the league, you know, and I'm going to stop taking him out of that, you know, discussion of being one of the best receivers in the league. He's done everything you need to do to be great, and that's exactly what he is right now. So I'm not worried about A.J. being where he needs to be. I'm just worried about A.J. getting back to health and really competing at the level to take us to that next level, and that's winning another back-to-back Super Bowl.
Right, and in order to do that, A.J. Brown has got to be 100% healthy, and especially when you look at what he's done 3 years here with the Eagles, he keeps talking about all of training camp. I want to be the best in the league. He wants to take another step forward, but the health has got to be available for him to have.
Yeah, you know that ability right there is the best ability he can bring to the table. We know when he gets on the field, he's unstoppable force. The way his body control is, the way he goes out and he runs routes. I mean, defenders fear him when he's out on the field because you can't stop him. If he wants to run a slant, there's nothing you can do to stop that. I mean, when he's going out and getting those 50-50 balls, the way he's able to slow his body down, lean back, and give late hands to catch the rock, I mean, he's one of those super, you know, receivers out there that you can rely on him being the best player on the field when he's out there. So I'm looking forward to when he does come back, but I'm waiting for him to do it in his due time.